Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is me, Jordan Young, and this is another bussin' banger that has been stamped, certified by the streets. Today we are going to be looking ahead to the biggest sneaker releases dropping this May. Now I should mention before I get into the list that I'm probably going to fail to mention some sneakers out there that some of you guys out there are really looking forward to, and for that I apologize. I should also mention that some of these dates could well be subject to change. You guys know how it goes there, and there could also be some discrepancy between release dates here where I'm based in the UK and you guys over there in the US and you guys down there in the South Pacific, Australia, etc, etc. So I guess check your local stockists if there are some releases that you're interested in to firm up the specific release dates in your area. On May the 2nd, there's a pretty exciting pair of 3D printed Adidas dropping. This is a pair that I actually previewed early late last year. The brand sent me a pair of these to review and I did just that, and these things are breathable. They're basically a one-piece 3D printed construction. They're pretty futuristic looking. If you did want to check out my full review on these, I will put a link above. On May the 3rd, there is a pretty exciting SB Dunk Low collab releasing. This is in partnership with the College Skateboarding Educational Foundation, which is a foundation that supports skateboarders getting into education. Pretty cool initiative, and it's a pretty cool pair of SBs to go along. I mean, the color blocking is pretty simple with this predominantly white upper offset against a little bit of black on the toe box and on the swoosh. They're going to be running $125. And do I think these will sell out? I do think they will largely sell well, but I don't actually think these will sell out. I don't know, maybe they will, maybe they won't. I kind of feel like SB Dunk hype is pretty low right now, and so that's great news if you're into your SBs, and you have been. I'm thinking because it's quite a easy to wear, stylish colorway, they might go well. To be fair, I wouldn't be surprised if they did sit in some sizes, but that is a good thing. Also on May the 3rd, another pair of Air Jordan 4s that for the vast majority of you guys is not going to apply, and I guess for that same reason most of you won't really be too bothered. But we have the Air Jordan 4 Forget-Me-Nots, and this is to celebrate Mother's Day. It's a women's colorway, meaning they're only going to go up to a US 10.5, and they're also being called the aluminium or the aluminums for y'all over there in the US, the aluminums. It is, to be fair, a really nice colorway. It kind of has a little bit of UNC Tar Heel vintage energy about it. But in light of retro fatigue and the big old retail price points, I do think these will pretty much sit, unless of course they've decided to make these hyper limited. Right, May the 6th, we've got some Crocs, and you'll have to forgive me for talking about Crocs, but Crocs are a thing these days. They're something to be mindful of when it comes to certain collaborations, and I feel like this one could be a notable one because this is Crocs teaming up with Swarovski to create a platform clog capsule. So there's a whole bunch of these clogs that are coming out with these bejeweled attachments and affixments and all kinds of bespectacled gym crackery, or gibbets, that's what they call them. Gibbets is basically gym crackery. And I'm seeing a couple of models here which both look pretty sparkly and pretty out there. Look, I know these aren't going to be for the likes of you and for me, but maybe your missus, or maybe a niece, or maybe, I don't know, one of your fruity mates. May the 7th is the release date I'm seeing for the BHM SB Dunk Low Tourmalines. This is a sneaker that we expected to see earlier on in the year. That didn't quite happen. Retail price point is saying $135, so I'm not sure if that's like a little bit extra compared to other quick strike SB Dunks. I mean, we were just talking about the CSEFs running $125, so I'm not sure if maybe because these are slightly more elevated, they're supposed to be costing more, or maybe that's just a typo that I'm seeing here. But this is a pretty exciting looking shoe, not least because of the colorway. These tell an interesting story of black cowboy history, which is in itself a pretty interesting storyline to be taking. Do I see these selling out? I think it really depends on how many units they decide to make. If they do make these really limited, then I can see these being a bit of a thing, but if they're just normal production numbers in line with other quick strikes we've seen in the recent past, I could actually see these sitting, to be fair, which will be good news if you are into your black cowboy heritage. Right, so one of the biggest releases of the month have got to be these, the Jordan 1 High OG UNC Reimagined. These are supposed to be releasing on May the 10th, and the retail price point is $180, and you have probably already started to see the early reviews of these shoes floating around on sneaker YouTube. So are these going to sell out? Yes, I do think these are going to sell out. Are they going to resell for a whole bunch of money? I don't think so, to be honest. I feel like this is one of those sneakers that Jordan Brand are probably going to wheel out initially in maybe a semi-exclusive type manner, and then probably get in the habit of restocking over the next 2 or 3 months, or maybe even for the next year. If you're like me and you still have your 2015 pair that's still in pretty good shape, this particular release isn't going to be a must cop. I feel like a lot of people are probably in the same boat as me with that. In fact, my 2015s are starting to look more reimagined than these reimagines. But from the content creation aspect, I probably will try and get a pair of these in just to, you know, compare and try out and make the review on and stuff like that. But this is not, for me personally at least, a must-have sneaker. Right, so for my golfers out there, there are a couple of exciting sneakers dropping this month, and one of them is a Jordan, and the other one is not a Jordan, but it's inspired by Jordan. So we'll start with the actual Jordans. These are called the Air Revs. And as a quick aside, I've actually started a second channel which is all about golf. If you guys want to go over there and check it out and subscribe, I really would appreciate it. That would be fantastic. So Jordan Brand are basically looking to really dive into the golfing markets with performance apparel and performance shoes, because that whole industry is absolutely flying right now. And I do take a bit of time to talk about that stuff on my channel if you are interested. This shoe is called the Air Rev, and it boasts some brand new technology, including the first usage of air external to the sneaker. And that's supposed to be in the form of this revolutionary flight lock system and air zoom cushioning, which allows for a bit more of a customizable fit, as well as the strategic placement of this air so that you know where to push off the foot at certain points of the swing. Now these do look futuristic. They do dial into some aspects of Jordan Brand's design language. They are also a little bit gimmicky, and at $275, I'm not sure if they're ultimately going to be worth it. But as someone that is interested in Jordans and in new technology and in golf, this is definitely going to be a sneaker I'm going to be wanting to try out. Now, the other exciting golf shoe that is dropping in May that I don't yet have a firm date on are these. This is a crazy shoe, man. This is the FootJoy Premier Series Field LX, and it's in collaboration with Aimé Leon Dore. Now, if you guys do a little bit of a double take at this golf shoe, you'll probably be noticing some very similar design cues to one of the best Jordans of all time, the Air Jordan 11 Concord, in fact. Now, it should be noted that this isn't a surprising reference, given that Teddy Santis, the founder of Aimé Leon Dore, is a huge Nike and Jordan head. If you've been to an ALD shop floor, you'll know that it's quite often decorated with things like OG Jordan models, and so he's big into his J's. And this particular reference is unmistakable. The ALD golf collection that also just released today also takes a lot of cues from classic MJ golf outfits from back in the day. Now, the price point is $350 USD, which is quite expensive, but this is a premium luxury golf shoe that is definitely gonna have you looking good, even if you're playing bad. I'm not sure if these are coming out worldwide yet, but if they do, bro, that'll be really exciting. We're talking about the Jordan 3 Soul 2.0. South Korea joints. You guys remember the pair that dropped in 2018 to commemorate the '88 Korean Summer Olympics. That particular pair was reselling for crazy money. Then there was like a mini restock in women's sizing, I think, in 2020. This particular follow-up is distinguishable in that it has this hyper-aged midsole as well as some different materials. They do look nice, they do look clean. We have seen these on feet, but again, I can't confirm whether or not these are going to be dropping globally. My inclination is that they're probably going to make these specific to Asia or Korea and not accessible for us around the world, but I hope I'm wrong about that. A couple of releases on May the 17th of note. One is the $900 Hyper Boot by Nike, the Hyper Ice. This is the recovery shoe, which uses heat and compression to, I guess, massage your feet. I don't know, these things feel like the Hyper Adapt 3.0s, a whole bunch of technical gimmickry aimed at having you depart from the money inside your wallet. $900, man. Who of us out there really needs a $900 recovery boot? Would I go out there and spend $900 on these? Hell no. They look ridiculous, and if you're not wearing them in the recovery context, it's just not going to make any sense to anybody as to why you'd wear them. Like, the only context you could get away with wearing these is if you're basically injured. On the same day, you've got the Mellow 12s, the Jordan 12 Mellows. This is a beautiful shoe. It's a beautiful colorway, and it represents a legendary part of Carmelo Anthony's career, early doors, when he was doing the business at the Denver Nuggets. We have had a small retro of this sneaker back in 2016, but it was a kids only release. So for a lot of people out there who maybe have this original sneaker, are gonna be looking to replace and upgrade and update, this would be one of the sneakers this month that I would be low-key interested in trying to get. Right, May the 24th, quite possibly the release of the month, the sneaker that everybody's gonna be looking forward to the most, arguably one of the retros of the entire year. It's the Air Jordan 4 White Cement. This is quite possibly the best Air Jordan 4 of all time. It is, at least in my opinion, but a little bit like the UNCs. If you're like me, you've still got your 2016 pair and they are still clean, they're still wearable, they're still firm, they're starting to get that natural reimagined flavor about them, and so picking the 2025 pair up is gonna feel like it's surplus to requirements. Unless you're like me and you want to get them in to do the review, to do the comparison, and to, you know, get the views, etc. $225 is the retail, which is significantly more than what these things were going for in 2016. So around 200 pounds, they were going for 155 pounds in 2016. Now there are some other pairs that are supposed to be coming out in May that I haven't seen firm confirmation of. The Amamanier Air Jordan 5 Violet or Burgundy Crush. I've been seeing some places report these are set to drop on May the 14th, and this is Amamanier's third take on the Air Jordan 5. It's starting to feel boring. It's starting to feel a little bit tired and predictable. It is a clean shoe, don't get me wrong, it's a nice colorway, but pretty forgettable at the same time. $225 is the retail. And you guys over there in the US are set to see a release of the Jordan 3 Rare Airs, which have already released here in the UK and are pretty much sat everywhere. It is a nice shoe. It is part of this whole Rare Air thing that we're seeing with Jordan brand this year, but I feel like because it's a predominantly black Air Jordan 3, and we've had some recently released black Air Jordan 3s like the Amamaniers or like the black cements last year, people are just looking at this as another version of the same shoe that they've already got 2 or 3 times over. So I think for that reason, these will inevitably go on to sit in a lot of places for you guys over there in the US, much like they've done here in the UK. Right, so those are like the global releases, but in terms of releases specific to the UK that I'm seeing here after going on the Soul Supplier site, it looks like we've got the Little Yachty and Air Force One collaboration on the Lucky Green. That's supposed to be going down on the 1st. Same day, you've got the Travis Scott Zoom Field Jacks in the Lech Blue. Really? Because the other Travis Scott's Jumpman Jack or the T-Rex or whatever are dropping on the 30th. So you've got 30th and then you've got the like back-to-back Travis Scotts. Could that, I mean, I don't know. I'm just going off what I'm seeing here. Also got the 2nd of May release of the Air Max 95 Pink Foam, the New Balance 2010 Dockside Indigo. There are actually some raffles out there available for those if you were interested. I'm also seeing here the Swarovski Jordan 1 Low OG Stealth for the 15th of May. Also got the Kobe 6 Black Lightning dropping on the 24th. And then the last notable release, at least according to what I'm seeing here in the UK, is that the Aqua 8s are supposedly dropping on the 31st. So there could be some crossover dates between those releases that I mentioned here in the UK and the US. It could be just a big old jumble. Let's see what happens. That is it for what's coming up in May. If there are any additions that any of you guys want to add down below, tap them out. Would love to see you in the comments. Go and subscribe to my golf channel. There's going to be some giveaways and all that type of stuff coming up soon around that. So I'd really appreciate it if you guys could go and support me over there. And yeah, let me know if there's any releases you guys are interested in copying this month. Should be a good one. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. Take care for now, and peace.